Hey, welcome to Slow News Day. I'm Steve Poikinen, and I am joined this afternoon by fellow traveler, fucking just beleaguered uh, content creator, and holy shit, Kit Cabello, you guys have been getting hammered by our tech overlords at YouTube, and just real quick, let us know where Heartlands Media is at in terms of this bullshit with Google's favorite streaming platform.
All right, so let me just clarify just a couple of things. So if you do follow Heartlands Media or you're subscribed to us, recently one of our Perspectives video segments was premiered on our channel. Now, the thing is, I talked to Daniel, I talked to my editor. That was already scheduled, that was already uploaded on our YouTube channel. When I talked to them about it further, they have indicated that we are still suspended. We cannot upload or do a live stream or do any new videos. YouTube will not allow us to do that. Again, Steve Poikman, thank you so much for having me on here. And I know you got a couple other questions, and I'd love to go into detail about how we got suspended in the first place.
Yeah, that would be great, because when you got hit, we were like, wait a minute, what the fuck? They entirely redesigned their format and their channel to make sure that they wouldn't run afoul of anything on YouTube, like making a point of saying, like, look, we're self-censoring here because we have to, but we have our Rokfin channel, and if you want to see, an unfiltered Heartlands Media, this is where you go to do it. It's a free account. It's just we're trying to. I looked at it as you were trying to, like, cultivate your YouTube audience and get them over onto the Rokfin in the first place, and that was how you were doing it. You were giving them still giving them accurate information, but not trying to run afoul of the censors, and then encouraging them to come onto another platform where you can speak a little bit more freely.
And that's the whole goal of Heartlands Media. And there's a big difference between Heartlands Media on YouTube and Heartlands Media on Rokfin. And I want to explain, before I get to our suspension, why we decided to go with that policy. Because we're very careful with our thumbnails, very careful with how we title our videos. And I, for one, have to say, I hate that I have to self-censor. Daniel hates it too. The rest of the team hates it. But we're doing this for a reason. Rokfin is where the controversial stories go. The reason why we made that policy is because between March of 2020 to September of 2020, we were shadow banned. Every single one of our videos was demonetized. People were being unsubscribed. And we have, fortunately, had to set up a backup channel. And then near the end of September, somehow Heartlands Media came back to life, and our original channel has been growing since then. FaZe has been doing a phenomenal job as an editor. Me and Daniel have been, trying to be very careful, but I have taken responsibility of capping the Rokfin platform just to make it different.
YouTube got sued in September.
I am aware of the situation, and I also know that around this time, again, a lot of our fellow colleagues, especially in January, after the January 6th riot and the force of vote, surprisingly, our fellow colleagues, Convo Couch, Nikasu Casa, the Political Vigilante, Progressive Soapbox, Status Quo, Ron Placone, I don't think Ron Placone was hit. I know Slow News Day, I think you guys got hit, Frank Analysis, Jackson Hinkle, and Krish Mohan, and so many others. I apologize if I'm forgetting a few people. Oh, Ford Fisher too. I've never met him, but Ford Fisher as well. And we thought that we were being smart by being careful how we title our videos. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
And that's something that, like, that's the most. I think that's the most important aspect of all of this to me, in my opinion, is that it shows people that even when you try to play their game, even when you try not to, to toe the line and do the right thing, at the moment they know that you put your own narrative out and go push up against the mainstream talking points, and don't always do what they want you to do, then you've been marked.
Right.
And since you were already previously shadow banned, which anybody who had paid even like a tiny bit of attention to your channel could have seen immediately, because you guys were you were crushing it, and then just the brakes got pumped and the tap got turned off, and there was nobody that was directed to your channel anymore. So they got sued. They backed off a little bit. They started at least like letting some people get their subscribers back and shit like that. But yeah, as soon as the shit went down in DC, and we knew that Biden was getting inaugurated, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like the Technopoly sort of got together, had a meeting, did in fact in Davos at the World Economic Forum, where they talked about this. They had a panel on narrative management and filtering media. Gloria and I did a whole big thing on it and got a QAnon context warning as a result. But my point is though, real quick, is, and then I want to hear what you have to say about it, is that even though you had tried to do what, like, in my opinion, more than what was necessary to not run afoul of them, I think because you had already been marked for death, as it were, they now, because they went back in time to pull your video, and then they said you can't be on YouTube again until June.
No, well, no, hold on. I want to clarify just a couple things. We have been suspended for 1 week. So here's what happened, and I mentioned this on Jimmy Dore's show, and I was also on Case Study QB's show and Frank Analysis show today, this Saturday. So I don't know when this video will premiere, but again, shout out to Jimmy Dore, Case Study QB, and Frank Analysis for having me on. Shout out to you as well for having us on as well to tell our story. But I'll repeat everything that has happened. And look, it's taken me a while to calm down, and I do apologize to anyone if I might seem a little bit angry or overzealous in some of the interviews or something like that, because this is a lot of hard work that our team has worked together to really make happen. And I've been just furious. And here's the thing, what happened to me, I don't want to see that happen to any other channel. When all those other channels got deplatformed, I was enraged. So here is what happened. On March 4th, I was doing a recorded interview with Susie Dawson, one of the co-founders of Panquake. It was a 30-minute long interview. I was very happy to have it set up. Once FaZe got done recording, FaZe, who's our editor, he immediately called for me and Daniel to come to the board. He pointed out that we have been suspended, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. So here is what happened. The video is about the inauguration. The title of the video is about, basically says, Biden is in charge, Biden is the president. Okay, so I find it funny that you mentioned Biden and the presidency. We have in our title, Biden is the president. The community guideline strike that we received, the top description is for denying the legitimacy of the election. So that means somewhere along the way, this video that's 2 months old in January, they are saying that we are denying Biden being the president and that the election was fraudulent and everything else. Now, I know other channels have done a phenomenal work calling for election integrity and calling into questions for the election. Hardlens Media, we have never once said that Biden isn't a legitimate president. We never said that he wasn't president. We never said anything like that in the video. And I challenge every single critic of Hardlens Media or supporter of Hardlens Media to show a video where, hey, we're saying that he's not president. Now, do we think we need to have election integrity in this country? Absolutely. Do we need to have free and fair elections? Absolutely. But never once did we say that he is not president. And yet YouTube is saying that we did say that, which we did not. Now, they also went on to go further and saying that we are scamming, that we're deceiving, that we're doing deplorable actions, and the deplorable actions, sorry about that.
No, I'm trying to figure out how.
Yeah. And so the thing is, I know when it comes down to scamming or deceiving people, I know we've never sold anything. We've asked people to be Patreon supporters or subscribe to us on Rokfin, But that's their own choice. A person can do that or not do that. But then again, I want to say this again, the community guideline strike that we received, and this is something that I've gotten from Daniel and looking at it myself, the top description is for denying the legitimacy of the election. That is false, and YouTube has made a mistake. Now, what we think has happened is that its algorithm, its blind attack dog, went after us because we were probably talking about the inauguration. There was still the January 6th riot was still fresh in people's minds, and who knows why they went after this 2-month-old video, but we have been suspended now for 1 week, so we can't upload any new videos. Any previous videos that we have scheduled already will premiere or show up on our channel, but anything brand new will not show itself. And this hurts us because it prevents us from uploading our interview with Susie Dawson, doing interviews with future activists or organizers, and it also hurts us when we comes down to maintaining our studio, which we worked our butts off to really make happen.
Yeah.
Now, again, I am for free speech. I am for people having a platform. So what's happening to me, I don't want to see that happen to a libertarian channel. I don't want to see that happen to a Republican channel. I don't want to see that happen to your channel, Steve. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see that happen to anybody else, whether I'm friends with them or they disagree with me or they don't even know who I am. This shouldn't happen. And it's not only independent media content creators that are at risk of this, it's other content creators too who have to be careful. So whether you're subscribed to YouTube, we need to let Team YouTube know that, one, what we want at Hard Lens Media is for our suspension and strike to be removed. Clear our record. We did nothing wrong. And at the same time, too, YouTube, hire more people. Don't rely on your automation because your blind attack dog is hurting content creators. And it's just not independent media, it's everybody. And a lot of people make their livelihood on social media. This shouldn't happen at all.
I don't think YouTube cares. That's the thing. I mean, and this is
And
what
I can't argue it. I can't argue back. You know, I mean, that's a situation. You know,
because we know if you look to just what, December, when there was that conversation on CNN where oh God, I can't remember the fuck's name. At any rate, the conversation was about there's too many people that are getting their news on YouTube. There's too many people that aren't going to mainstream media anymore. There's too many people that aren't relying on these establishment outlets. We've got to do something about that. You turn around to when the electors meet, or not when the electors meet, but when Congress went to certify the election on the 6th. From that point on, any channel that has been actively positioned against the establishment has been slowly going away. Or the suppression algorithms have been turned up to 11 and everybody's view counts are going down. Shit like that. At the same time, we do have, you know, and I hope you guys do have your channel backed up on Odyssey too. You should, if you haven't done that. Odyssey will do a full archive of everything you put out on YouTube and put it on their channel, and they do it for free. And they're about ready to start live streaming too. So as like a free alternative to YouTube, Odyssey has positioned themselves pretty nicely to be legitimate competition. Rokfin as a pay-to-play platform, I've obviously not trying to like be the alternative to YouTube. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think you would find that more on like an Odyssey, you know, library, or to an extent like DLive, but
yeah,
I don't game. But yeah, if you haven't, get your channel backed up on both of your channels backed up on Odyssey, just to have an archive for when YouTube does yank you, because it's coming to all of us, I'm pretty sure.
I will again, there's a lot that me and my team, we are talking about. Again, we are very upset that this happened to us. And I think I could speak for both me and Daniel. I mean, we're both furious at this because I know for a fact, and look, hey, Steve, this is a challenge to you. I mean, if you want to show like, oh yeah, you did say this about Biden. Like, no, I know we didn't. And we've been very careful. And look, I hate self-censoring myself, but that's what Rokfin's for. But the bigger picture is, if this is the case, if this is the pathway YouTube wants to go down, well, then it's forgotten who made it in the first place. YouTube was created by the people. That's the most fundamental thing. By the people, not the corporations. YouTube used to look down. I mean, corporate media used to look down to YouTube, and now they've moved right on into YouTube. And I remember a time when content creators were on the trending page a long time ago in 2008. Since then, it has gradually changed. Now, again, this suspension is unjust. And I ask that anyone that's watching this politely, kindly, and I know for a lot of people they're upset at YouTube, but tell them, hey, they made a mistake. We got to try and fix this. And if YouTube says, hey, we made a mistake, we apologize, but we don't deserve the suspension. We don't deserve the strike. I know that for a fact. But we're going to keep on pushing forward, and we're going to keep on telling the truth. And more importantly, we're not going to back down, and no one should. And I don't care what their political beliefs are, whether you're libertarian or Republican or conservative or progressive or liberal or green, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you have a voice, that you have a platform to speak your mind. Because if something were to happen to Slow News Day on YouTube, I wouldn't like that, or Nico House or Convo Couch. But the sad fact is that it has already happened or it might happen. Mm-hmm. And YouTube needs to change itself before people decide to move on. Because YouTube can become a great platform, but YouTube has to be very careful on how it treats its content creators, the people that made it, not the corporations.
And I see this. I mean, you kind of touched on the pattern and the pathway that YouTube has been going. We've seen since the 2016 election, the sort of like corporate invasion of independent media. You know, and that's not even to say that like independent media itself wasn't already basically based off of an existing corporate structure, because it is. It's access journalism for progressive politics, or access journalism for Green Party politics, or access journalism for libertarian, or like, you know, lower tier candidates, and that's the business model. It's just that the conversations that are taking place within using the same allowable parameters of conversation, allowable parameters of discussion, and even like the preset format, that's still running afoul of the narrative management machine. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be forbidden. I mean, there's already a fairly successful channel called Forbidden Knowledge. Holding back information from people is a time-honored tradition, and we can no longer look at, you know, Alphabet Inc. And its subsidiaries and Google and YouTube and Android and all of these things as private companies that are allowed to make these decisions about who they let onto their platform because they're private companies, private. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. These companies are an extension of the government. There is no daylight between YouTube and the US government. There's no daylight, certainly not at the board of directors level. And if that's the overarching structure, then their decision to suspend Hardlands Media or to demonetize Nico or us or, you know, Placone or anybody else, those are decisions that are being made with at least at the back of the intent, control of the conversation and control of the narrative. If you look at what's still allowed on YouTube and the kinds of like wild ass rabbit holes that you can still go down, and you can still like get lost in a path that will bring you right back to the Democratic Party or will bring you right back into the duopoly. You can still do all of those things. You'll always be able to do all of those things, but it's going to become more and more blatantly obvious that this is where establishment media has parked itself. And I think that holding up alternative platforms is going to become critical. I think in our minds, and we felt like this for over a year now, like every day that we wake up, we're amazed that we have a YouTube channel. We've
Yeah.
been trying to diversify platforms for about a year now. Slow News Day has a website. If Hardlands Media doesn't, you should, and that's where
Yeah,
you
no,
should direct people.
we do have a website. We do have a
Yeah,
website.
that's where you tell people that that's their first stop. Hardlands Media's website is where you go first. You don't go to YouTube first. Don't even go to Rokfin first. Go to the website first and get people used to, getting off of the crutch of an aggregate for information like social media. Get people going to individual websites again, and that's going to break them of the habit of having Twitter tell them how to think and feel every day.
No,
But go ahead.
well, you see, the sad fact is that social media has a stranglehold on a lot of people, and look, myself included. I think we all, no matter what, social media has its tendrils in us all. But the sad fact is that we have to remember that if we don't speak out against this monopoly that we're seeing by the tech giants, no one will be able to speak, and that's very concerning for me because I believe in free speech. I believe that people should share an opinion. Now, look. Are there people that abuse freedom of speech? Yeah, there's bad people out there. Absolutely. There's nothing we can do about it. There's going to be bad people. There was bad people long before we existed. There's going to be bad, deplorable people long after we are dead and rotting in the earth. Okay, that's a fundamental fact. I can't argue with that. But the thing is, you want to know how you defeat hate speech and ignorant speech? With intelligent and compassionate speech. People, I believe that the world, like I said before in previous interviews, I believe that the world is filled with good people. And when it comes down to hate-filled people out there, good people will overwhelm that. But the thing is, when you are on a super fast rush, take, for example, what happened after January 6th, when you have people on a super fast rush to start censoring people, to start silencing people, you're putting them in their safe spaces. You're dividing people up even further, putting them in echo chambers. How are we to grow? How are we to expand our knowledges if we cannot communicate? There might be some stuff that libertarians are saying that I might like. There might be stuff that socialists are saying that I might like, or Greens, or whoever. The point is, if I'm unable to engage with people, we are all left ignorant and in the dark. And that's not how things need to be. We need to be open. YouTube needs to change its policies because now we are witnessing firsthand the failures of corporate media as well as the failure of the Democratic establishment and the vote blue no matter who crowd. Again, we're not getting our $15 minimum wage. No stimulus check. The Democrats are in a super fast rush for censorship. Hardlands Media is dealing with that censorship, even though we haven't said anything negative about anyone, and we've been very, very careful about how we, title our videos and everything else. We're also seeing the fact we're not getting Medicare for all or student debt forgiveness or anything like that. So how do we change things? Do we rely on somebody in power? No. The people, at the end of the day, it's everyone that's watching this video. You, me included, Steve. We got to step up. And when the people lead, that's when the leaders follow. That's when we can actually make something happen.
On that, I want to remind everyone that in just 11 days, Action for Assange will be back in Washington, D.C.
Right.
We're hijacking St. Patrick's Day for free speech. So we're going to meet at the plaza where Fox, NBC, and C-SPAN are, march to CNN. We'll be joined at CNN by Fee, Pasta, and Johnny and the Fuck Censorship protest. We will then together march to Google. And that will be that day. We'll be at the Department of Justice on the 18th. Let's see. What else? We are going to be introducing something new here very soon that we've been talking about for a long time. Kit, I would love for Hardlands Media to be a part of this too. And that's the First Freedom Society, or FFS, where we'll be having roundtables that regularly feature censored content creators. that feature whistleblowers, that feature journalists that are part of the 184 that were arrested from the start of the George Floyd protests to the end of the year last year, marking a 1,200% increase in the persecution of journalists, according to Reporters Without Borders. This is shit that we can all do as content creators, as individuals who want to secure a little self-determination, who want to secure the first freedoms that we're guaranteed under our U.S. Constitution, can do that really doesn't take a lot of time. There will likely be events, but we want to make this, be something that people can do locally. There's almost always a tech company or a defense contractor in every major city that you can hold an event in front of, that you can help bring people into a sense of awareness about what's really going on with them. If you were to ask me, kid, I think I made this perfectly clear. Like, the politics is the distraction from what the national security state is doing. And we can really now, like, we've got a small window, in my opinion, of time for where we can freely assemble and where we can come together in the street and address this. I think that we need to look at something like our First Amendment as we've done with Julian Assange. We tried to make it a post-partisan issue. Like, you can have politics, but you leave them when we talk about this. This is something that is past politics. We don't,
Right.
It's something that allows us to have politics. And I think we need to start looking at the way of the relationship that tech has with our government as a priority.
What I would like is for you to send me all those details to my email. I know you have my email, so send me all that information. At Heartlands Media, we'd be more than happy to collaborate not only with you, but the countless other reporters and content creators that are speaking truth to power. We all got to speak out. And, the sad fact is even if you're careful, even if you are, playing by the rules, you still get screwed over. And, this is something I don't like. And I don't like people being silenced for sharing an opinion, because it's a dangerous pathway to not only to media corporate censorship, but to a form of neo-fascism in a way. And this is something that cannot be allowed. And with the persecution of Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, this is something that we have warned about, but so have you and countless others have as well. And if we can't protect the press, freedom of speech, well, then that's the death blow to democracy as a whole. So YouTube needs to get its act together. Is YouTube a publisher now? Is Twitter a publisher now? Is Facebook a publisher now? Because if they're going to be censoring people and removing people's content, that means they have to reevaluate who and what they are, which is why I always say the internet should be a public utility, as should these social media platforms as well. But the sad fact is nothing will change until the people step up. It's everyone that's watching. You have to step up, and don't look at these politicians like the heroes that they are. They're not. They never will be heroes. They're public servants. They work for us, not the other way around. And with a video, again, show me where me and Daniel said that we're denying Biden being the president. Here's a fact, controversial statement. Biden's the 46th president. Whether you like him or not, he's the president. I don't like any of his policies, and I think the Democrats are walking into a slaughter in 2022 and maybe something worse in 2024. But that's on the Democratic Party. But YouTube needs to clear itself together. They need to hire people and they need to stop censoring Convo Couch, Slow News Day, Mika Sukasa, Ford Fisher, Frank Analysis, Jackson Hickle, Krish Mohan, and so many others. They need to stop this because we're not hurting anybody. We're empowering people, but maybe that's what they're afraid of.
Hear, hear. I think it's a great place to wrap this, Kit. I appreciate you coming on short notice. I wanted to get this out while it was still current, and please let people know where they can, while you're waiting out the suspension, where the backup channel is, what else you got going on, and where everybody can support you.
Okay, so we do have our Twitter account. We're more active there. It's Hard Lens Media, HARDLENSMEDIA. We have a website, www.hardlensmedia.com, HARDLENSMEDIA.com. Our YouTube channel is up, but again, we are not demonetized, thankfully, but we are suspended, so we cannot upload new content. But our YouTube channel is still up. We have our backup channel, HLM. You'll have to look for it carefully because there's other people who use HLM as well, but I'm pretty sure if you see me and Daniel, you'll know you found the right YouTube backup channel as well. We'll post it on Twitter. We have our Discord, Hard Lens Media, and then we're on Rokfin as well. And again, Rokfin has been really phenomenal to us. They've treated us very well. It's refreshing to talk to a real human being for a content platform. So again, at least they respect free thinking media. Hard Lens Media. We are unfiltered there, so if you don't like me swearing or talking about controversial people or controversial stories, maybe Rokfin's not for you, but I think Rokfin is something that's really great, and I'm really happy that I can speak my mind on Rokfin. And we also have a Patreon page as well, but we are very appreciative of all the support that we've gotten, and I want to thank all the viewers and who have been sharing on our Twitter page, telling YouTube to reinstate our channel and remove the suspension.
Hell yeah. That's gonna do it for this round. We will see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Jared Beck, author, DNC fraud lawsuit attorney, and one of the great thinkers of our time, will be back on the show. We're going to the moon, and that will be incredible. Ford Fisher will be on the Sunday afternoon Rokfin show to basically have this conversation again, but it'll be a little bit different with Ford because the guy doesn't talk. It's just raw video. It's just raw video. They're literally erasing history because it doesn't fit the fucking narrative. What the shit? And Ford's just a sweet man. He is.
I've never met him, but I believe in his work, and not to mention, hey, corporate media, you've used Ford Fisher's video too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said on fucking Twitter, and I ended up deleting it because I was like, ooh, no, that might wash up on Ford. I don't want it to do it. But my immediate thought was, holy fuck, where's the mainstream media going to go to steal footage now? And then, you know, and like maybe he'll get his channel back because NBC will be calling going, we poach a lot of that footage. You should put the channel back on, you know, and like that's how it would get done. But so Ford will be back on. We've got some fascinating interviews coming up. Eva Bartlett she moved out of Palestine to go cover what the neo-Nazi regime that the Obama administration supported and put into power has been doing to the Donbass region in Ukraine. Huge war crimes going on right now. The Western media hasn't covered this at all. Nary a peep. So this is what we do. So Eva will be on. We've got a Ukraine scholar she suggested, and he and I have been talking, so he'll be on, hopefully to give a nice background overview of the situation before Eva does, but I'm not sure how this is going to work out. Micah Dean, someone who is decoding the Bible, will be on very soon. That's going to be incredible. It can't just be the nightmare of the American political system, geopolitics, the national security state, or the Five Eyes all day, every day. We've got to also understand like how we fucking got here. And so as we transition to Slow News Day full time, we are going to need your support, but we're also going to be giving you all the fucking goods. So stick around for that. Thank you again, Kit. I love you guys.